So you're what, 6 months into being officially the mayor?
I was sworn in 2 months ago.
2 months?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Elected April 8th, sworn in April 22nd.
Gosh, that was an April election? For some reason I thought it was in November.
It
but
sticks
yeah.
in my mind because it was my actual birthday.
Okay.
It was the election day.
Oh, really?
I spent 13 straight hours at the poll on my birthday.
So 2 months, jeez.
Hmm.
All right, we'll start with the police. We'll do a little Royals and
Of course.
there. Got about 30 seconds here.
Easy peasy.
What are these called again?
Challenge coins.
Challenge coins.
Are those the North Kansas City ones?
Mm-hmm.
The marigold on the back?
It's nice.
Or is that the one with the PD? Oh shoot, I don't have one of those.
What?
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 Is this my challenge?
Yeah,
Okay.
see how you do.
Good.
See how well you talk about me.
Yeah. The big cheese himself sitting here in the corner acting like he's not listening.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'll leave.
Nice. Stick around.
I still wanna do real quick, like. It's the white shirt gang. Goodness sakes.
We'll wrap up the show with Keatsman coming up here in about 15 minutes on KCMO, but we are happy to put a bow on our conversations here in North Kansas City with their newly elected mayor, Jesse Smith, who is 2 months on the job. Mayor, good morning. Thanks for being here on KCMO.
Good morning. Great to be here.
So take me through, first off, this police department, obviously you ran as a supporter of theirs. How important are these men and women to this community and what you want to build for the future of North Kansas City?
Yeah, absolutely ran to support the police. How could you not? When we do community surveys, our police department is top tier. Every single one of our community surveys, they've scored in the upper 90s percentile. It's a safe community. It's a place that people don't have to worry about really much of anything safety-wise. And we even had a town hall where a guy said, look, I don't even lock my door at night. I leave my truck over, like, hey buddy, maybe we don't say that out loud, but it's that kind of feel, right?
Yeah.
We have our first responders, our police, if you need them and you call them, they're there in just an unbelievably short time. I've needed to call the police a couple times in my 12 years here, and response times 2-3 minutes. It's unbelievable.
How do you balance, you were on city council before you became the mayor, and there's been a lot of conversation on a more transient population. We understand that when you're landlocked, one way to grow your revenues as a community is to grow and build up with apartments. But we all know a lot of residential homeowners do not really want to see more of a transient population or more apartments. I know, you got the Oxbow, it's a big, beautiful building down the road here. But how do you, as the mayor, balance this growth thing with also maintaining what you have in North Kansas City?
Sure, it's a delicate balance to strike. I am somebody who favors having a strong community, and you're right, having folks who don't live here, potentially don't own a home, it has a feel of less buy-in, but I don't like to necessarily degrade folks who rent or who live in apartments. They can also be very valuable members of the community, and part of my task as the mayor is to bring them into the fold, to make them feel like they have ownership here, whether they own or not. Some people choose to live in apartments for reasons that aren't just because they want to move in a year. Sometimes they just don't want to do maintenance on a house that, I own a few of them, and maintenance can be a real drag. So I want to bring those people in. I want them serving on boards and commissions. I want them feeling ownership in the town. We have a thing called the Citizens Academy here, and we can bring people of all ownership or renting structures in and teach them what this city does. And it really opens eyes. I've had a lot of people that come to my town hall meetings are not homeowners. They're people who are just interested in what's going on in town. And I'm also going out, I'm working on going out to these various apartment complexes and getting to meet their residents, saying, look, I'm the mayor in town. I want you to understand that you can reach out to me. You can shape what's going on in town. And we've seen kind of an on-ramp to home ownership come out of these apartment complexes. City View is one of our now becoming a legacy complex. And many of the people who I help buy houses as a realtor have come from City View. And so it's not just transient populations that some people who prefer not to have apartments in town will classify them as. Many of them want to own a home and desire to be here and find that path once they're in.
How about working with the area jurisdictions? Have you dealt with especially Mayor Lucas in any meaningful capacity yet, and what has that been like?
So the mayor and I sat down for lunch at McLean's Bakery over here on Swift. Plug for McLean's, go have a cinnamon
Yeah.
roll, it's amazing. And I found him to be a very personable, very kind, very genuine person, and I'm hoping that we get a chance to work together. It was a kind of a surface level getting to know you. We hadn't had that chance before when I was on the city council. And I stayed back on grilling him on some of the heavier issues that we could collaborate on, but I'm looking forward to more chances to do that. And I've also met with Kathy Rose, Mayor of Riverside, Greg Newsom, the Mayor of Liberty, and I'm looking to meet some of those local Northland mayors to really bring a coalition together so that we can work for the Metro and for the Northland together.
So how about you when it comes to North Kansas City Mayor Jesse Smith was elected in April. He's here. We are at the North Kansas City Police Department. How about these Royals? Where are you at in trying to make that happen here for North KC?
How about those Royals? What I tell everybody right now is we still don't know much. I've had one actual conversation with the head of business development for the Royals. We sat down for lunch, and it was a pretty high-level discussion. We all know Royals 1.0, that process. They looked at North Kansas City, they looked at the Crossroads, they looked at East Village, and we all saw how that went. There were a lot of unanswered questions at the end. The people of Kansas City voted not to move forward in a pretty resounding fashion. And so what I learned from that process is, one, transparency is absolutely critical.
Yeah.
And I've promised my people that, I promised my businesses that if we are to move forward with anything Royals related, it's gonna be as wide open a process as humanly possible. So I've held a town hall. We had about 100 people in the room at Cinder Block Brewery to get those questions out. We don't have the answers yet, but I want people asking the questions and at least getting those on our list so we have conversations with the team. But at this point, the team reps have told us that we're still one of the sites under consideration. They're still looking at Kansas, they're still looking at downtown, and then they're looking at North Kansas City as the Clay County site. There's been some movement through the legislature. If you've tracked any of that, the Missouri legislature set up the Clay County Sports Authority. So Clay County can set up and establish a sports authority, possibly levy up to a 1/2 cent sales tax. That would go through a vote of the county, of the people. That was where the process died in Jackson County. So if that were to succeed, there's also the Show Me Sports bill that allows the teams to take a look back at the last year's revenue, project that out 30 years and bond against it. Again, that's a bit of a black box because there's non-disclosure agreements that have been signed by state reps. We don't know what that funding amount looks like. So between Clay County Sports Authority and the Show Me Sports bill, there's money. They're also gonna want to have a local component, which we don't know what that looks like yet.
Well, I was gonna say, and it's not a knock on North Kansas City, it's just there's not a big enough tax base here for there to be a meaningful local component from a city perspective. So what is a theoretical North Kansas City role in all this financially when it's really more of a Clay County deal as far as I can tell financially?
Sure, and obviously, ideally for me, we spend none of our own money.
Yeah.
But the Show Me Sports bill had a local component, and still some of that remains to be understood, whether local means the county participates, the state, or the city participates. I'll go back to Royals 1.0, and we sat in those sessions as the final decision was approaching. We had some asks come from the team. A lot of it is redirection of revenue generated from the new stadium and the development around it. So it's net new money. And there's even a downtown revitalization program through the state that could redirect some of that as well. But most of it is not them asking us to cut them a check. It's, we'll bring this new thing to your city, and when it throws off revenue, and they'll throw out projections, we'll take those projections and cut them down a little bit. We'll project out what are our expenses, and we try to get to a place that puts our city in a good spot and also can help put revenue back to the development, but it's the new revenue that's coming off of that. And is it a good deal for the taxpayers? But more so than just the money. The money is something it'll either get sorted out or not. It's the impact to my people here in North Kansas City. Clay County can advocate for the city. The ADCs, the Economic Development Councils, they can all say, this sounds great, and it might from an economic development standpoint, but what does it look like on the ground, right? If they drop a stadium at 18th and at Howell, right here where the old bowling alley was, what happens to traffic? What happens to parking? What happens to those businesses in what I call the blast radius? And those are questions we didn't get answered the first time.
Well, what about what happens to assessments?
Oh,
Does
yeah.
that come up? I mean,
Of
suddenly,
course.
I mean, that's gotta be something that I imagine people are bringing up to you, right?
Of course, and, you know, property values and tax assessments are, you know, I don't have the crystal ball for that.
Yeah.
If you, it's sort of like adding a pool to a house, right? It's a feature that some people love and some people don't. So does it have a rising effect on property values? Does it have a neutral effect or even a negative effect? And I can't guess that right now, but people are concerned and it's something obviously we wanna look at.
What's your anecdotal feel on residential, interest in having the Royals here breakdown?
Yeah, breakdown's really tough, right? Because anytime you get a divisive issue, you're gonna get the edges
Yeah.
coming out and saying, like, I'm really, really not in favor of it, no matter what answers we get later. And some people say, this sounds amazing, I could envision taking my family to the game. And so we're hearing from the folks on the fringes. The rest of them who come to the town hall meeting, they're there to listen, right?
Yeah.
They're there to say, when I ask, hey, where's everybody at in the room? Most people say, we don't know yet. We're willing to be, convinced, if need be. We're willing to hear what's being said. What are those questions you're asking? But right now, it's hard to even guess.
Well, Jesse Smith, the mayor of North Kansas City, 2 months on the job, and you got a lot to figure out here. It's exciting stuff, though. So we appreciate you joining us on KCMO.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for shining a light on our police department. You've had an all-star cast of folks running through here, and I just can't say enough good things about them.
We appreciate that. Mayor Smith, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Jesse Smith on KCMO. We will wrap it up from the North Kansas City Police Department with Kevin Keatsman before Uncanceled takes over at 10 o'clock. Great job, thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
Grab a quick photo here if you don't mind.
Pete, Chris, this is our city administrator, Mike